This is part two of our comments to the Select Revenue Subcommittee of the Ways and Means Committee. But as we were talking about carbon added taxes. The thing about carbon added taxes is that they would list the carbon content so consumers can pick what energy they would use. So you can, if a carbon added your carbon content would be on the receipt and the amount paid in the tax or it'd be on the gas pump, like it is now with excise taxes. So you would compare that with the, and it would be on the sticker too of the car. You compare that with electric car carbon added tax loads. So you can pick which one. And there might be some interesting debate over the true carbon footprint of one kind of vehicle versus the other. Lithium-ion batteries are not environmentally cheap. So it's these kind of things need to be need to be on the receipt or the invoices for the car, the electric bills, especially if you can pick your electric supplier, which you can do nowadays. All of that needs to be, and in the consumer products too. So yeah, it should be listed on the receipt, not just buried in the price. And why is this important? Because energy prices are inelastic, meaning you add a tax, doesn't change consumption, and they're inelastic. They're also tax inelastic, meaning sometimes they will eat the tax to keep the prices low. Although sometimes it goes the other way. So let's look now at our current gas price situation. Prices are inelastic, so I'm sure people, if taxes keep going up, will be taking the metro more after they go back to work. If they go back to work, and the pandemic is ending, so they will be going back to work. So more people will be taking the bus and demanding better bus service because of the price. Now, is it going up because of the Ukraine? That's what they're saying. They're lying. Supply chain issues? No, not supply chain issues. Barrels of oil do not sit on docks in shipping containers. They're offloaded. When crude comes in on a tanker, it pulls up to offshore. It pulls up to a pipe, pumps into the pipe, unloads, leaves. No waiting in aisle 5. There's no supply chain issue. So why is it so high? Same reason as 2007, an out of control futures market. The Dodd-Frank Act put in regulations to control it, and the price went down. Just as the price went down when Congress made some changes to the energy markets, and that's why gases were so cheap when President Obama was inaugurated, because Congress had acted. The bad news is that people had their fuel futures, and they had to cover the futures price. So what did they do? They said, let's tap these mortgage-backed securities. And that did not go so well, and the economy collapsed. Let's try not to have that happen this time, but we do need to put the Dodd-Frank NYMEX rules back in. Now, what happened to them? Mick Mulvaney happened to them. When he was the OMB director, he was also the acting director of the Consumer Financial Protection Authority, and little was reported on, they didn't with fanfare gut the regulations for NYMEX, but the proof is in the pudding. You can see that they did, because the market is again broken. This committee needs to do some hearings on that. So in conjunction with the Financial Services Committee, because it's an important question for funding for gas taxes and for just and of course the Energy Committee as well. There needs to be an investigation by staff, and there need to be hearings. And hopefully wind of these things will suddenly lead prices to go down, and hopefully the president will quietly change the regulations back, and quietly prices will go down. And I think that's probably happening, but at least members of Congress should make sure it's happening by making a few phone calls and threatening hearings. I think probably if there's a rumor of hearings, then there will be people selling off their futures, as they are doing now. Anyway, people are taking their gains because they're thinking that some form of Build Back Better will pass that includes tax increases. There's the 5% tax proposal, surtax proposal on capital gains, and so the smart person is letting the stupid person buy the stocks and getting out, just like crypto. The last person to buy it gets hit. So there'll be a slide. And even if the slide is quiet, somebody's going to be the last person holding the bag. And hopefully it'll happen quietly as it is now. That's why the market it's not losing value haphazardly. It's losing it because people smell a tax increase coming. Now, in my usual tax reform attachment, I say, maybe we should do something bipartisan. Let's say 26 as opposed to 28. The current status quo is 23.85%. That's with Obamacare taxes and capital gains rolled together. It's 27.5%, 28%. It's 28.8% as proposed, and to be enacted in Build Back Better. If we raise it by 2.5% or all the way up to 2%, make it 2%, so the Republicans will definitely vote for it, or make it 3% so the Democrats will, negotiate it, put it in the halfway, and get rid of the Affordable Care Act surtaxes as part of that. It doesn't need to be any more complicated, or even enact an asset value tax, an asset value added tax, which is what we talk about in the in other attachments. I will link to those. Now, if there will be plenty of room in the price if we fix the exchange's trading rules, so we can fund the taxes. Will then fund research adequately, and that's a change I needed to make to the. I will in the written comments specify that plenty of room for raising taxes to fund research adequately. I've got a project to talk about. So it's from my Future is Calling book. There'll be a link to that in the chat as well. Technologies are not yet ready for prime. Two technologies aren't ready for prime time. One of them is electric cars with lithium-ion batteries, and self-driving cars. There's a better way that's less likely to result in individual failures, deaths, running out of power in the middle of a road, and these options are overhead transmission lines, a mature technology for bus and rail, and central computer control, also through overhead lines. You can even build the interface into a roof deck, cover it with grass, block pedestrian access, and there'll be no fatal traffic accidents, not for drunk driving, not for mechanical failure, not for pedestrians, because part of the communication will be a communication between the car's computer and the central traffic control, and it'll say maintenance needed, and the car will then go to get repairs or not be allowed on the road. Now, there's the management concept is also important, and the way that's the second part of the project. Rather than having fuel, road building, and government owned and operated independently, combine them into a single entity in each geographic area, a single enterprise. I didn't put that into. I need to add that to the official document as well. Include car companies, energy companies, local governments, infrastructure contractors, John Deere, electronic payments, processors, and selected local governments. For the driver, this will appear as one-stop shopping. They can either own their own cars or call for a car from a common pool. Their banking information will already be programmed into their own car, or they can insert a fob into the pool car, say their destination, or choose it on the little menu, and the computer does the rest. Prices would vary based on congestion, and vehicles could be taken to public transportation hubs. Could even be the children's school. So you drive your kid to school, you take a bus to the train, and it's all very boom, boom, boom. Or you take the car go to, you have your car drop you off at the train, go back to the school, and then take the bus to the school. All kinds of options. And then the vehicle would go home or to the school, probably home, or it will go to the next fare. If congestion's low, it'll be more affordable to drive to work. If congestion's high, prices for the public transportation go down, and you adjust the price to route traffic. Again, computer control can do that for you. This solves the problem of having to walk to and wait for the bus. At the end of the day, you get picked up, you jump on the train. Trains usually run faster than buses, I'm not sure why. And then your car is waiting for you to either go pick up your kids or just take you home. And again, if there's diagnostics in the car, instead of going home, it goes to Firestone or the dealership. At the same time, we do the power grid and include electricity for houses, internet services, and of course you would for home and office include all that in the consortium. Gasoline is an important thing too. Does gasoline have to be burned anyway? As part of making refining oil and for plastics and motor oil, all kinds of things. If you have to have the gasoline, then you can burn it at the refinery, and instead of just burning it, have it go into a generator and into the grid, and then the grid would go into transportation, and it's a lot easier than having people worry about their catalytic converters. If you can bypass making gasoline, that's the best of all possible worlds, but I doubt that is possible, and I doubt it would pass. This would pass without doing that. So, gas-fired electric generators at the refinery, or maybe at higher ground. So you still have a pipeline to higher ground so that your grid doesn't collapse. So, and in a total corporate economy, a lot can happen as far as employers having voting stock, and I will finish this out in part 3. Hold on one second.